Okay, thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill. All right, so we're ready. We can begin by welcoming guests. Welcome Cindy, welcome Bill, welcome Janet. Let's see, we have a quorum. So if we would like, we can, somebody have any questions about the minutes from last meeting, or would someone like to move to approve those?
April Lang could move to approve the minutes from last meeting.
That's awesome, April. Thank you. Anybody want to second those?
I'll second.
Second, Pam. Second, April, Pam. It's just like last year. All right, good. Moving on then. Under waste reduction, under recycling, I have 3 items. One recently added from Mari, but the first one is on the flyers. How are we looking on the recycling flyers? How's that stand? Anybody have any updates?
We got them all finished. I can give a quick update if you guys want.
Yeah, sure.
We made a new flyer for a recycling drive listing everything. It's a half sheet that went over to George's office, and I was at the transfer station yesterday morning, and they have them there ready to hand out. So that's a plus. They also have the 2-sided recycling, wish cycling flyer at the transfer station to hand out as well. And we created the ABCs of recycling, this lengthy list, which was added to the town website, along with tons of updates. So the whole sustainable page has been updated for the most part. I think everything was sufficient. So
Guys, one thing, the glass, and again, maybe it's because of the cookies or whatever, but it doesn't look, I thought, Patty said the glass page had been updated, but I don't see it's updated when I look on my phone. So not sure if it to remove all that extra.
yeah, she did. It was updated.
Yeah, it's weird. So I still have the old one then that is pulling up. So no problem.
So those flyers again, Mari, if you would, there's 3 of them, right? So, did you say?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I mean, we did one thing with them. Let me say that. So we made a new recycling drive handout that the transfer station has to hand out, and it's also the same list that's been updated on the website. That's one flyer. We made a 2-sided flyer, which is single stream, like updated what's in, what's out of the curbside bin on one side. The other side is all Trumbull specific, like do's and don'ts for recycling. And then it also explains all the Trumbull specific recycling programs, like the glass, the textiles, the recycling drive. What else? E-waste. I think there's a link for that. Also was given to the transfer station, but we have talked about other ways to distribute that out. Maybe having copies at town hall, that sort of thing.
So they actually
that's
have them
still
at the
up for
transfer
discussion.
station now?
What is it?
They actually have flyers at the transfer station to hand out, or is it just like
They
posted
do
there?
in case people have questions. I guess they were saying
Okay.
some people have questions.
And then wish cycling, which one is that? Is that the do's and don'ts one?
Yeah, that's the same one. Yeah.
So you got so you got one for a handout that is also on the town page.
Yes.
So on town website. And then there's the 2-sided, what's in, what's out, do's and don'ts. And then the third one was, sorry.
Well,
what
the
was it?
third thing was the ABCs of recycling, we called
Right.
it, but it's not, I don't know if I'd call it a handout. It would be quite a few pages if you print.
Oh, okay.
You could. It's a link on the
I call it a
website.
flyer, so it's I
Yeah,
guess. So that's got more detail.
correct. It's like everything you could think of alphabetically. What to
Okay.
do with it, specific to Trumbull, because there's resources statewide, but if
Right.
someone goes there, it might say trash, whereas we have a way to recycle it here in town.
So are they all approved then? Is George's office need
Yeah.
to review any of them, or they're all done?
They did, yeah, they approved
awesome.
everything, so we got the green light to put it on the website and or print for the transfer station at least, but we still could think of additional ways. I think the main one is the 2-sided single stream plus
Mhm.
Trumbull specific things on the back. That's the one I think that we should find ways that we can print more and have them available to people. Maybe somewhere in town hall, Like, what's the most highly visited office in town hall? Maybe you can answer that, Cindy. Is it like the tax assessor's office people come into the most, or?
I would say either the town clerk or the tax collector.
Yeah. I think the town clerk's office, I was told, is pretty full with handouts. Maybe the assessor's office would be a better one to have a stack, if that would be something we could get approved. We could print up some. Or someone
If
could print them out.
they're willing to do it, yeah.
I
I-
tried to give the town clerk's office some tree brochures and she wouldn't take them.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a table when you know, after you go up the steps, there's that one table to the right, which has a lot of flyers, like the senior center newsletter, a lot of pertinent things.
mhm.
But I'm wondering if, since they don't want to clutter up their offices with it, and even at, you know, at the greeter station or in the busier areas, if we do put up like one of the acrylic stands with the, you know, with the flyer with the QR on it, and people can at least download it that way and then have it to print at home. You know, I'm wondering, rather, because, you know, I go past that table, I barely even look at it because there's so much stuff, you know, so it may be an option. And then I guess RWS, I don't know if George has reached out to them or not about getting some of those, you know, those flyers out, but obviously they want to work with us on the composting. So we should have some, you know, good back and forth with them, I think, soon.
That's good. Anything else on the recycling flyer? All right. I don't know if there's, I put on here the recycling webinar question mark, but I don't know if there's anything new on that. We were gonna sort of piggyback maybe with Fairfield or something. We do
Actually,
anything,
there's an event at the library. Is that what you're talking about?
could be.
I think
One of them.
June 29th, we penciled in April, right? It's 6 or
Okay.
6:30 to do a composting informational session. And we haven't heard back from RWS. I reached out to that contact, Mary. And we didn't hear back to confirm, but we can try again and maybe loop in the handout on the recycling as well with the email, but
Yeah, let me know if you want me to get in touch. Maybe you got spammed, you never know, because I know he's very, you know, he, as you see, he's linking the sustainable sites and pushing it and things like that as
Yeah.
well, so.
yeah, they've been supportive.
Yeah,
And then the other item I have on recycling is on the razors. Mara, you said it would be good to get some funding for the postage to send back the razors, what, to a couple, 3 times a year, maybe, something like that?
Yeah, we filled like a box, and I feel like it's been, I've only paid one other time for it, but I don't know why TerraCycle gives you a label, and it's supposed to be one of the free programs, and then it's not a prepaid label
Oh,
when I get there. So it was like $11 and something cents. So I'm wondering if we
yeah,
can budget that. I think we have to vote on it. But yeah, it's roughly 3 times a year we fill a box, it seems like.
somebody want to make a motion to postage, pay for postage?
yeah, I'll make a
Sure.
motion to approve the, whatever it was, $11, is it just 11?
Well, for the-
$11?
But it's a few times a year too, so if we want to do it. We want,
Yeah, so then
approve
I
it
just
in
make a motion
perpetuity.
to
In
approve,
perpetuity.
the annual razor shipping back to TerraCycle.
there we go.
Thank you. Yeah,
And
Second.
then, oops, sorry.
1166 this time, but yeah.
And then Mari, I have a form from Maria that I will send to you so that you can send that to her for reimbursement.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Anybody want a second on the on Mary's motion? Pam, good, approved, all in favor? Okay, there's Ralph. Welcome. Right, so that's that. Just let me catch up and send it to Mary. Okay, then I have, this is a good one, on the food scrap initiative, the composting. Anybody want to do an update on that? Where we're at and what we need to do, if anything on composting with
I think-
RWS?
I think that there was a question last time about that. And someone had asked George for an update and hadn't heard back. And if I'm correct that this is what that was about, I talked to George and he basically said that anything like that would have to be placed in an area that's in the direct line of sight of the workers there. And the problem is because of the safety issues with cars backing in and out, and there was an incident at one point, they just don't feel that until that entire transfer station is reconfigured, which is part of the plan, they just will not be able to put it in until that time.
Cindy, do you have any idea when that's happening? Because we've been talking about that. And I know things take time, but we've been talking about that for years now.
You know, I don't know when that is. I can try to find out, but I really don't know.
I think it is in 24. As I said, that was the MetroCog project, which just kept getting pushed back. There were some other issues that came to light after the project was first scoped out, but they're expanding the roadway down where you come in for parking. There's the bus parking lot, which is next to it, for those cars. But it is a complete overhaul. And I know I thought when it was approved, the first junction, that it was going to be that year. And then COVID hit and waiting for MetroCog and changes. But I seem to think that George did say 24, which again isn't very, not immediate, but that was the last I had heard.
So meanwhile, I mean, RWS they've started their own, what is it, home, people who use RWS can get a composting bag or something. How's that? What's the update
It's a
on that?
$29 startup. They get a bin, I think they get a countertop thing, and they get bags.
Right.
And then
Did
it's
everybody,
nine-
they sent that to everybody, huh? All their customers?
I think so. Yeah, we got it.
Okay.
And
Alright.
it's $9.99 a month. And it's curbside, like your trash or your recycling is. Curbside compost, the guy who had the game in Trumbull, who dropped Trumbull because he didn't have enough households, was $32 a month. So this is really cheap.
Yeah.
And it is going to be open townwide, not just for their customers. So it will be full town, but yeah, the price is pretty phenomenal.
Oh, they're doing it for everybody. Okay, that's interesting.
But I'd like to know, and I don't know, Mary, is it Mary or Mari who's been in touch with RWS on this?
Me.
Okay. Well, we have tentative dates for the farmers market, which is later in the agenda, but I'm wondering if someone from RWS might want to come to those events and maybe have some bins available, or at least literature, or can speak to it. But we can talk about that when we get to that bullet.
Yeah, I'd mentioned to him about before the date was at the library that was coming up, and farmers market potential and things like that. I had mentioned also when the aquarium rain barrels were being picked up, that probably would have been a great spot. I don't remember the date of that pickup, but again, it's them, so I can't be like, you really should be there. But I'm sure, especially getting out of the start here, they'd love as many opportunities. So when we get to that, if you can share the dates, that would be super.
Speaking of that, Mary, I know I'm doing the composting event at the library at the end of June, and even if they can't be there, it would be great if we had some flyers or some information from RSW, even though we're talking about home composting. If that's too much of a task for people, then they could sign up that way. I think that would be a great spot for us to at least give that information out on their behalf.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I didn't know if he wanted to be there and have some of the basically I'd asked him, how is he distributing everything? I mean, that's really a big job. So all of a sudden give out the countertop and the bags and the weekly or every other weekly pickup. So I don't know if they will choose to maybe be there with some of the product or just get people to sign up and have flyers, via us or them. But I did mention, but now that we have the date, I will get back with him and see if you know, if that's doable, and then we can add the farmer's market as well. I'm not sure how many people have signed up, you know, but it's, as I said, $9.99 a month is a pretty great incentive. So, you know, hopefully we can keep pushing.
Is it animal products too, like meat and bones stuff? Oh, really?
Yes, all that information's on the flyer.
Good, good. It's a pretty good deal. And when does it start? When is that supposed to kick off? Didn't know,
I thought
didn't
he
yet,
said
did it?
June 1st was
June
the last we heard.
Okay.
Mary, if you want to get a list from everybody of all the RWS stuff, I'm fine not being the point of contact. I was just trying to, because I was the point at the library, I was just trying to help out there, but you know, I can certainly delegate.
Yeah, whatever works, or I'll, you know, if you want me to, and then I'll copy you on it because I know you were already in touch.
Yeah,
You know, so either way is fine. I just, I don't know, as I said, how proactive they want to be at attending events, or if they're just, you know, they may have as much as they can handle right now on starting up, or they might definitely want to keep soliciting, you know, so we can see what they think.
Right. Anything else on the composting? Then let's head on over to, sure, let's see. Oh yes, I think Mary, you had said funds available from Bay State and HelpSee. You wanted to put that on the agenda, so.
Yeah, that was just once we get, I know April had, April quickly had something she could spend the money on. But we do have, you know, we get that money in each month from those two companies. And if there's any cartridges, Planet Green, I'm not sure how much we get from that, but I can ask Maria to give us an update. But we were at about, I believe it was $2,300 in our revenue account. So there is the NIPS bottles, which of course is under the town and George, but it's in that special revenue account. So that's separate, but we do have the funds. So if we want to start thinking about something and perhaps do small things like the TerraCycle, and, you know, April can talk to the books for the tree education program. But if we want to keep it, you know, keep it going and keep getting more in that fund and put towards something larger, fine, or distribute as we go forward, but it is there. So, you know.
And currently you said we have about 2,300 in the fund?
Yeah, I can get an exact, but I believe I should have looked before the meeting, but I think it was about 2,300. And Bay State has gone from, which is great. HelpSee was starting at $40 a ton. They moved it up to 60 when they heard how much we were getting from Bay State, which was $100 a ton. And without even asking, Bay State's moved it up to 120.
Wow.
So, and as April and Mari saw, the bins were full this weekend. I did ask him, they were short on drivers, which that does happen every once in a while, just due to the nature of the business. But I did ask him if we're filling the bins or if it is driver related. So we could, you know, see to add an extra bin if needed. But I think it may be, you know, this time of year we'll probably get a lot more, but with the driver, I think that was an issue as well. Can I see Pam's hand?
Oh, sorry. Yes, thank you.
Well, it's not on here and I apologize for that. But since we're talking about funds from Bay State and HelpSee and NIPS, I'm wondering if we want to invest in another table runner for our events, because right now we're using one at the recycling event. I'm going to be at the farmer's market. We're going to be at the library, and we paid about $55 for the one we made last year. So is it worthwhile to get another one?
I think we should.
Yeah, I don't know if we need a motion, but I'll motion to, for us to purchase another table runner.
Sure. Second,
I'll second.
Mari, all in favor? Very nice.
And then to get in the,
Table runner it is.
to get in the weeds, do we want the same white with the logo on it?
Yeah.
It's consistent, I think.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I'll also make a motion to pay for the postage for the razors going back to TerraCycle, or if we want to get one of those all-in-one boxes that
Yeah.
TerraCycle sells as well. I motion for us to fund that.
I was gonna add that on about the, our comment regarding the HelpSee money, April, because we collect quite a few chip bags, and we kind of have been loosey-goosey about putting them on the recycling drive list because the place I drop them off is a paid box and it gets full quickly. I looked up, the largest paid box is $240. Because there are a lot of chip bags in there. Like right now I have a big, shopping bag, but I mean, people are catching on to the recycling drive, and it was like the busiest month. And I was going back and forth between recycling drive and Stop and Shop, Pam and April, you guys know, but it's pretty crazy. I have 2 points. Yes, I'd be in favor of buying a box if that is in the budget, the $240, and definitely add that. I mean, we could add K-cups to the collection if we purchase a box. But I'm wondering if, very early on here, as we're discussing the transfer station, we keep, putting on the list to ask George about compost collection, but other towns are doing the textiles at their transfer station. They're doing the plastic film collection at their transfer station. I mean, we could add TerraCycle collection boxes, and people could get in the habit of recycling this stuff all the time, not just the once a month where there's a few of us volunteers, scrambling around with like chickens with our heads cut off. So I'm just wondering if we can get that conversation going early of what kind of stations we can set up at the transfer station realistically, instead of coming to the table in 2024 and saying, oh, well, we already redesigned it and it doesn't fit, so that's my request. Can we fund the boxes, and can we have the conversation early? So
We had that conversation when we met with George and Vicky the first time. What was that, 2020? We talked about all the things we'd like as a one-stop shop, and we showed them the map of Darienne's transfer station, because they have like a drive-through and you can go to all those stations. I don't know if it'd be worthwhile to represent that, but just throwing that out there. We have the deck, we have all that information available.
I can remind him that this is something that's on your minds about other things that you're interested in putting at the transfer station when the time is ready. So for him to make sure that he comes to talk to you or hear your ideas before it's all planned out.
thank you.
Yeah, and I know like the textile Bay State would pick up from wherever place. So that if it fits, that's a great addition. But the other discussion was with plastic wrap, who's going to take that? Because they're already, employee wise, very tight on the town side. So it would be somebody picking all that plastic up and bringing it to Stop and Shop. And then the same thing with the TerraCycle. So I know that was part of the discussion as well. So that would probably come into, being again. But one question just to back up, can you explain the differences between the prepaid TerraCycle boxes? So is this, you pay $240 for a box for a year and you can put anything in it you want and they take it? Or is it if you're buying a box for razors and then when you send it in, it's a certain amount? I guess I'm just not sure how that works.
So basically, we've signed up for many of the free collection programs, and it's separate. It's like Colgate's toothpaste stuff. And we have to provide our own box, and we print a free shipping label. They all pretty much go back to these same few TerraCycle warehouses, but it's like Colgate pays the shipping for that box of toothpaste products. Because they basically all go back to make the same sort of products that they use. It's not like going back to that company particularly. So that's just a little bit of backstory. We've signed up for all these free ones, so we don't have to pay for anything. But there's a lot of items such as the chip bags, the K-cups, candy wrappers, coffee lids and stirs, and single-use plastic utensils. Like, you can buy a box that allows you to put all these items in. There's more things, but you can buy one by category that has like 5 items. Like the chip bag is chip bags and candy wrappers. I think those are the 2 things you can put in that box. It's a one-time box purchase. So you fill this $240 box. Once it's full, you send it back and you would have to buy another box. How quickly we would fill it, I don't know. I would say it's smaller than the plastic bag collection canister at Stop and Shop, but it's freestanding, fairly tall for $240.
So you
And is that-
anticipate, sorry,
Go ahead.
how long do you anticipate one of those boxes lasting Mari, given that we might buy more than one and,
That's
Yeah,
a good question. I don't know. I mean, I'd have to see how much you can shove everything in, because you know, the chip bags really push down to nothing.
right.
Right now, I'm going to the store REI in Milford because they're the only place I know that has the collection boxes, but they pay for the box basically. So they have
Okay.
that pre-purchased box and I'm going in and shoving in and then I'm still having extra and they're like, oh, we'll take it. But I'm not 100% that they are going to buy another box and put it in. I don't know that for sure. Nobody at the store could really answer that. So it's something to think about. We could expand and get a box that you could put anything in. It wouldn't be limited to the chips, but then we might get tons of, I mean, the black plastic containers has exploded. I mean, we had like a car full of to-go containers last recycling drive. Like that's one volunteer's role now. You know, Kevin, you've been there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you take some this week too? I forget.
Not this week, the previous
Okay.
time I did, but so that was all down to Bridgeport?
Yeah, Beth had to leave it with her car full and that was all she had pretty much. So
Wow.
it's hard to tell how many chip bags people would save and how much they would collapse in there. We could
Right.
give it a whirl. We could just keep dropping at REI and hope that we don't.
Well, what do you
max out.
think? I mean, worth a shot trying it out, see what happens. Spend $240 on a box. I'm not sure which box we want to start with, or if you want to get a couple of them. If we have some money in the account, we might spend it on some of it on that.
It's worth a try at least once, and then if you find that, you know, filled up, you're gonna need 5 of them a year, then maybe
Yeah, if we're gonna
keep going to
spend
REI.
thousands of dollars every
Right.
year for that, maybe it's too much, but I think it's worth trying something, right?
The chip bag is a good one because if we add items to the list, it might get out of hand. But chip bags we get in with the plastic regardless, whether we even tell anyone we collect chip bags.
Yeah,
or not,
that's right.
just
You're always
because
pulling
people
those out
don't
and
really
having
get
to
it.
throw them away, right? Or do something else with them, right? Yeah. So that makes sense to do that. Well, do you want to, does that sound like a plan? Maybe do the chip bag, a chip bag box, see how long it lasts? $240 for one of those?
I agree.
All right. All approved, all in favor? Good, sound good? All right, let's move.
And can I start one thing on that? There's a box in the entrance at Trumbull High. When you're going down the hallway, is that the same box? Because it looks like it does have all of those, like pictures of all those collectibles. Or is that separate?
That's what the Trumbull High Environmental Club made, and they were collecting anything that the recycling drive collects, and then they were just gonna bring it to the recycling drive each month as items got put in. But the messaging wasn't the best, so I don't know how much they've collected this year, but that's great you saw it, it's in place. Maybe next year they'll get the word out a little more on it. But yeah, it's not a prepaid box, it's just their handmade one. And they were gonna manually go, yeah.
That's what I was wondering if they were bringing it to the monthly drive. I'd love to tell people, even my husband, who was like, it killed me, all the K-cups. He now has the reusable, you know, little black, and you put the ground coffee in. He probably has 20 of them, and they just keep piling up on my counter every day. He drinks so much coffee. But I'd love even the education side to be like, those are not recyclable, the typical recyclable, like these are so easy to buy these, you're not throwing out every day. It takes a second. So that's my other chef. But anyway, but that sounds great. So thank you.
So the other thing, if it's okay, I wanted to talk about for funding is after doing the More Trees Please presentation and going to the library, I found out that we had this magazines like this at the Trumbull Library. So this one is about, if you could see it, this one's about pollinator pathways, which we talk about during the presentations, but they have another one which is geared towards elementary kids too, but it's all about trees and how trees roots talk to each other, which is exactly like kind of like the presentation and what we're talking about. And I thought it would be really a neat idea if we funded the Blossom Buddies and then the other tree magazine through Cricket Muse, are like $6 or $7 a piece for all the 5th grade classes that we go to next year too. So then they have an educational magazine left behind as well. I think it'd be roughly $120. Okay, I'll go high, $150 for all the magazines across all the classrooms.
All right, so that's let me just get this magazines over. There you go. It's on the agenda even. So that would be, what are the magazines again? What are the names of them?
It's called Cricket Muse,
Cricket Muse,
and there is one called Blossom Buddies.
Blossom Buddies. How cute.
And the other one, I think it just said trees. I don't know the exact name. I could look it up on their website. I had it, but I had to return it. And they just go along really well with the presentation that we do to the fifth graders across when we do the More Trees Please, that I thought it would be a great addition to what we've been doing.
So is this an annual thing? You'd have to do it every single year for the next class?
Could be. It could be. I mean, I don't, unless the magazines don't get destroyed, you know, at least for
Is the ma-
next.
How often do the magazines get published? Are we buying a subscription or is it like one thing?
Buying specific magazines
Okay,
with
Got
our top.
got it. All right.
Does it happen to be Scholastic at all to get, I know if they're, the PTA still, I don't know if they still do the Scholastic book drives, which they did for years and years, but then we get points for going through those.
It's not Scholastic.
It's not, okay, sorry, PTAs.
Anybody want to move on that? Move to approve the purchase of said magazines for the Trees Please program? Yes, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
And I'm sorry, one more question. April, is this for each, I thought it was going to be for each student as a takeaway, but you're saying leave them in the classroom.
Per classroom, right?
Perfect.
Yeah,
Per class.
Okay, perfect. I think that's great. I think it goes, you know, along so well with 1,000 trees and everything. It's just a really nice initiative.
I think it's a good tie-in. For sure.
excellent. Since we got you there, April, how about Trex? How are we doing on the Trex challenge?
Well, we're just about to start up. So I've been in contact with Ashley at Stop and Shop, who's the manager there, does the sustainability stuff there. I'm meeting with somebody tomorrow. I'm dropping off the bins that we got from Trex. So they're going to put Trex specific bins in each side of the entranceways into the building, which will be great. I manned a table this past Saturday from 9 to like 12:30ish, handing out information, flyers and magnets to anybody who would listen and take them about the program that we're going to start. If I had a bucket, I would have made a lot of money because people were just like, here's money. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want your money.
No, never say that.
Some people were just but I think anyone who we talked to who was willing to listen seemed enthusiastic, seemed like they were kind of interested in it. So that's a plus and a positive. And the fact that Stop and Shop is willing to put bins in there with like the flyer attached to it, I think is a great step in the right direction. And we officially start on next Monday.
Great. Now, are those different than the bins that they currently have there for the
Yes.
Trex? Bigger ones or something? Bigger bins?
So the bins they currently have there now are both black bins and one says plastic film recycling, but I am giving them a Trex bin, which is similar to one of their older styles, which has the Trex flyer right on it. So it's
Okay.
well between the bins they currently have.
So is there anywhere other than you can bring it to Stop and Shop, you can bring it to
This
our monthly thing, right?
So this challenge is only going through Stop and Shop and what we
Okay.
collect, that's it.
Okay, but if they bring it to our monthly recycling drive, we bring it to Stop and Shop, does that count?
Yes.
Very good.
So it's preferred that they bring it to Stop and Shop.
Well, that's good.
And
That
then-
gets. Go ahead. Is that
Sorry,
Pam?
the plastic we can, like I collect from the front of the town hall. And then I know the senior center is collecting as well. So the amount that gets brought and put out to the back, that still will go towards the town, correct?
Yes,
Okay, perfect. And what is the start date?
the 22nd.
Okay, I will hold my next huge amount till the 22nd.
I'm hoping in the next day or two to reach out to the Trumbull Times to see if they will run something. They ran nothing on the More Trees Please program. But you never know.
And it runs through, when does it
6
end?
6 months.
6 months. So somewhere in November.
There you go.
And what was I gonna say? Oh, so how do they measure? Do they weigh it?
So
How's that
I-
work?
Okay, so I already know the amount that Stop and Shop typically has per week. Anything over their average will now go towards the town.
I see. Very nice.
It's the only way to do it.
Okay. Wow. All right. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
And let's see. All right, so I'm on the agenda, onto the pollinator pathway. Let's see, I think I've got a couple things here that say there's a planter on the Tate Road rail trail.
Before
And,
we get to that, though, we
Oh, yeah,
didn't talk about the mattress recycling at all.
oh, mattresses, yeah.
So I just wondered, there was somebody who tried to bring their mattresses in. Did they leave early that day? Do we know? Did we ever get in touch with Bye Bye?
Bye-bye mattress went bye-bye early is what you're saying.
Yes, I was in touch with, I said I was sick, so I did not go unfortunately, but they were there early, set up, and they said they received about 30-ish mattresses, which was great for our first time. But they said they didn't get any mattresses after 11. So he said they left a few minutes early, whether that was between 12:15 and 1. So I'm not sure what time the person that said that she had rented a truck to bring her mattress. So I did offer to, pay for her truck. I felt terrible that, they should have stayed till 1. And they just figured since no one had shown up in, almost 2 hours, they did leave. But I checked with George on the possibility of having another mattress drive at the hazardous waste. So then we could do it twice a year. At least it gives people an opportunity well in advance to know that they can hold on to their mattresses that'll be there. So they're bidding, they're getting a bid on the hazardous waste at this point. So they don't have a date yet, but it's typically November-ish, maybe early December. So, but I didn't hear back from her after, after I posted that. So, I apologize. They should have stayed till 1, and I think they just figured nobody's come, let's pack it up at whatever,
Yep.
order up 10 of.
So sorry, thank you for that, Mary. I was just curious what happened there. So the planter on Tate Road is currently in bloom with a hardy geranium, which is a native plant. And I wanted to add another plant to it. I just, with my mom's condo, haven't been able to get over there. And I'm also I paid for a sign when we put that planter there. What was that, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago? I paid for a sign out of my own pocket. And somebody tried to steal it and broke it in half. So half a sign is on there now. So I'm going to put one of these on there. I'm going to bend it so it fits nice on the barrel. And this is a pollinator pathway sign. And our QR code, I have a sticker with our QR code that will direct people to our website for the pollinator pathway if they're interested. Hopefully, I'll put 4 screws in this one, so it'll be harder to steal. So that's on the list to do in the next week and a half, 2 weeks.
So you want to put on another plant, a new sign, and a QR code?
Right. The old sign had a QR code on it. I had it printed
Okay.
with the QR code, but I have sticker QR codes that I'll just attach to this or put on the planter itself.
All right. Then be able to,
The gardens at Twin Brooks, that is actually being worked on with the Long Hill Garden Club and Dimitri. So it's going to be, I think they're working on getting native plants, pollinator pathway type plants, but it's really not our bailiwick. Apparently they've been working on it with Plant List and Dimitri all along, and the funding. So Dimitri's got funding from the Long Hill Garden Club as well.
so what are those gardens? These are specific pollinator pathway plants, good for the pollinator.
It's going to be, apparently, from what I understand, they're going to be it's a pollinator garden. And it's going to be on White Plains Road where the Vietnam Vet Memorial is, and along that incline that goes down to the river. When I spoke to Dimitri at Twin Brooks when they were planting the trees, he said that they were going to use an herbicide to get rid of all the poison ivy that was there, wait a couple of weeks, and then put the plants in. So that's on tap for the next few weeks.
Yes, and let's see, we did the Trees Please program. Anything else to add on that before we go, Pam? You all good?
Oh, well, if anybody hasn't been to Twin Brooks, I know it was closed for paving, but when it reopens, I don't know if it's open yet. It would be great to go and have a look at the trees because it was impressive. I was on the Tate Road Trail, the Rails to Trails one day, and a guy I talked to, because he picks up litter, I pick up litter, we complain to one another. He said, "Hey, did you see they put all those trees in Twin Brooks? I wonder what that cost." I was able to talk to him about that. And when I explained to him what it was and where the funding came from, he was actually smiling. He thought that was great. So, there are a lot of people in town that don't get the Trumbull Times, that don't read, they don't go on social media. So, we didn't mail out the flyers on the program because it was going to be too expensive. I did put them at Town Hall, but I don't know if there's another way to get the word out beyond what we've already done. Janet's got her hand raised.
So thank you very much, because I keep looking at the minutes and I don't see people's hands. Yes, Janet. Where'd Janet go? Where's Janet? Hey,
There
Janet.
we go. Okay. There's like a theme that's running in my head, listening to the issues about letting people know what's going on. My initial thought had been, have we considered putting labels on the trees? And then I just heard what Pam said about, does this invite vandalism? But I think it would be a great idea if we could label them in some way, or else to have some kind of a metal diagram that shows which trees are where, just so that people know what natives are. The other question I had is, have we ever used, or do we have, do we have a list of civic organizations that we could communicate with about any of these initiatives that we've been talking about? I mean, I don't know if I'm in a socio-demographic cohort that just doesn't know what's going on, but, older Americans, I don't know if, I haven't received any information about anything unless I'm registered on the town website to get information from, commissions or whatever. I don't know if we can communicate directly with our civic organizations in Trumbull or not, just to let them know what's happening, give them whatever. I mean, you got my point. Points.
We did on the trees themselves, we did talk briefly to Dimitri and Pam did and Mel about some kind of signage. And so also being in touch with Rena, I'd sent her an example of what they do at Oak Lawn, a very high point, Oak Lawn Cemetery in Fairfield. But they're those, those wide 2 stands, and they're kind of leaning forward, and they're informational pieces, and you can slide information in or out as things change. But that's one of the things we were discussing, was some kind of a signage, and it could be even throughout the whole, Twin Brooks or other areas, Metamorphosis, things like that for that area, then going over the trees and pollinators. So it is a great piece. We'd have to, if we can find grant money, and Arena's always actively searching, and there's tons and tons of projects, but that's definitely a great one if we could put that out. Also at the last Parks and Rec meeting, there was other discussions about, and Rena was at that meeting, but about some kind of the historical, which we've talked about when we first started doing our bronze and silver. And that I know was kind of an overlap with Richard on the QR codes. But putting something out, as say you're going down the path of the Rails to Trails and all the little hot spots that have some historical relevance and things like that throughout town. So I think there's a lot of opportunities for that, with the trees, definitely at this juncture, and then along with other things. But funding, yes, is a biggie. And unfortunately, as you're saying, knowledge, it is true. If you don't sign up for the notifications, if things don't come out in the paper or not shared, it's, it's hard. So that's what I think, especially when the sustainable drive happens, it's another way to get things out. At the farmer's market, it's another way to get things out. And so that's the sustainable ladies have done a lot on putting that out, but you can only get it out in so many ways. So hopefully things will expand more, but I do hope we have the funding to get something in for the trees once that program starts. Or
Another
continues, I should
point
say.
that, I started the ball rolling with Mel's blessing on getting 1,000 trees for Trumbull set up as a 501c3. And there's a part now where I'm stalled because I think I need to speak to a lawyer about getting us incorporated, and I don't know how to do that. But if we become a 501c3, we can accept donations from places, individuals. We can collect money and apply for grants ourselves, right? So I think that that's on tap for funding, but definitely after the trees, there's another round of trees due to go in the fall, because we got money for that. And then I think the plan was to put up signage in the fall after those were in.
So how
Pam,
many trees are in now?
69 were planted.
69 trees in currently.
Mhm. And also Dimitri pulled some trees out of Unity Park because Eversource was going to go in and chop them down. So he grabbed those and moved those into Brooks as well.
Wow.
Pam, you
Um,
said you were stuck with the 501c3. Do you
Yeah,
know?
because we have, I got a number from the state, but then in order to apply to the federal government for the rest of it, you have to be incorporated. I don't know how to do that. So maybe you and I can talk offline if you know more about it.
I'm just wondering if there's somebody at town hall can advise you. I don't know if Cindy knows. I know that other organizations have attorneys, who work pro bono, who help advise about, doing these applications. I don't know if the town gives us access to that or not.
I don't know.
Okay.
I can ask.
Mhm.
That would be great. It would be great to know if someone at town hall knows of an attorney that can help us to get over that hump. Or if our own town attorney can connect us with somebody, or he would do it. I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal. I don't live in that world yet.
Right.
It looks like I'm going that way, but I don't live in that world, and I want to make sure I get this thing set up.
Yeah.
We've already gotten one email from somebody, a teacher in town, who wants to donate and have a program. So I think it would be great to be able to collect money and have it be
Yeah.
more out there.
All right. Was there supposed to be, or is there going to be a launch of in Twin Brooks, like an event kind of a thing to kick it off?
I think Dimitri was open to it, but he didn't want to do it when we put the first round in because Twin Brooks wasn't going to be ready. So he's open to it, but I don't know where Mel is on that whole thing.
Okay.
That reminds me of something else. From what I recall, making attributions like, like who is supporting this initiative on a plaque or somewhere does help to deal with the issues that you found when you were speaking to the neighbor, Pam. Like, did the taxpayers pay for this kind of thing? So if there's a garden club involved or, conservation or whatever, who supported this initiative or blah, blah, blah. I mean, if that's if there's public access to that, I know you have it in the flyer, but if there's something, on site that includes that, I think people find it makes it less of a, government type of thing.
Yeah, and when I spoke to that person on the trail and I told him where the money came from this round, he was surprised and he was glad. So I think that's a very good point.
Right.
So are those trees along the part where where the road is currently blocked off? Is that where they are, or where are the trees?
The big lawn
Yeah.
there,
Oh, that's where they are. Okay. So I just totally missed it.
along where the pond is. If you're looking at the comfort station in that main
Oh,
parking lot,
okay.
and you
Yeah.
start to walk towards the pond, there's a few alongside the pond edge there. And then you go around the Great Lawn that way, kind of by the river and White Plains Road. There's the rest of them are
Okay.
all there.
Yeah.
and further into the park as well, along the stream.
That's
They're all
good.
Yeah,
over.
signage would be great for that, I think.
I think it's crucial for the program.
Yeah.
We're gonna have this program go further.
All right. All right, so the next thing I have on my agenda is for the on outreach. I keep it on here every time. Ralph, the Economic and Community Development Commission. Anything new as far as them getting closer to publishing that used to be quarterly newsletter of theirs?
Not that I know of. Last meeting, the answer was no. It's a matter of having the time to publish it. I continue to lobby for it because I believe it can be done efficiently with volunteer work, but the answer so far is no. So as soon as I get a yes, then they have agreed, or Rena has agreed, that you will get a slot, a paragraph, a picture of any project you or we want to publicize. But right now it's on hold.
Okay,
And I also think, for what it's worth, you folks are doing a great job of publicizing your work. So this will add incrementally to that communication, but everything I've seen that you've publicized, including articles in the papers, is very good. So I'll keep you posted.
all right, thanks, Ralph. And then the other item I have is the farmers market. And then I think we choose
We have two dates. We
4
talked
dates. Let me
about,
look at my
yep, we have two dates, July
July
13th.
13th and September 14th.
Correct.
Right.
We proposed them last meeting. I didn't hear anyone scream, so I'm going to book those as sustainable Trumbull tables. The
Yeah.
other two dates that I had, I will use for the Connecticut Master Gardener table, and I'll bring to both, all four dates that I have, and I'll be at all four. I'll bring pollinator pathway. I'll bring 1,000 trees for Trumbull. I'll bring recycling stuff, whatever. But if anyone wants to come and help, it's 4 to 7 at Nichols, and it's fun. It's actually kind of a thing. So,
Great.
one thing I don't want to forget to ask Cindy. I'm sorry to jump in with this because I forgot all about it, and I wrote myself a note and still forgot. Cindy, did you hear back from Dimitri about the boxes at the Nichols Community Garden for us?
So, I think you had said that you wanted to did you want to put perennials in?
Native perennials that would be, I mean, for like almost like a founder's plot where we could collect seeds and have that
Right.
available to other gardeners.
So he said that the raised beds are for people, specifically for people with mobility issues, that would have trouble reaching the ground. So he really didn't think that was a good idea. And the main plot, he said the entire thing is tilled every year, and so they have to be annuals that go in so that it could be tilled every year.
Okay, well, we really can't do annual, so I guess that's a no. All right.
I can't bend, so we could use me as the planter. No.
I think the bottom line is there's really no support for this kind of thing. We talked about doing a completely different idea at the community garden. We got George to come with us down to Westport to look at what they're doing. And it's so compelling, but nobody wants to do anything different here. We just want to go and till and have it look like junk toward the end of the year, and nobody's there. It's just kind of it's such a waste of such a beautiful piece of land. And it's disappointing, but I get it. Something else someone would have to help do. And
Can I ask if there is an appetite for it with our funding to purchase an upright and put it there to achieve that, which would be the sustainable and could work with the the community groups or not. I mean, there's certainly enough property if the town is willing to allow us to place something. You know, I kill everything I grow, so it really wouldn't be me. But I mean, I get your point. I think it's a great idea. And back to trying to do the seed library, the seed, what was it? The seed with the library, was it seed library? And that didn't work out for whatever reason. We never really found out, but it just sounded like such a great tie-in. So, you know, maybe if we are providing all of the seeds, and if it's, I can't remember which town it is, Glastonbury maybe, or Wilton, but that they do like a one weekend where it's just the seed library for that one weekend and they give them out. It's just such a nice community thing. So, you know, if you're
It's got
interested
so
in
much
doing
to
it,
offer. It's educational. It's,
Yeah.
you know, it's, but I'm not looking to roll a wheelbarrow uphill on it. So, I mean, I know Dimitri knows about native plants and he knows what we're trying to do, but it's just, there's no appetite for working alongside us on it. And it's disappointing. I didn't even get an email from him. I never got a no. I got nothing. And that's also disappointing. You know, I feel like sometimes we're spinning our wheels here. And
I apologize for not getting back to you because I did speak with him about it at the last meeting and, yeah,
nothing new.
he's
It's
just
nothing
pulled in,
new.
he's pulled in a lot of different directions these days.
Do we have any idea what it would cost to have one of these upright planting garden things? No? Oh, wait a minute. Okay. All right, well, we can table that for now. I have, well, yes. I see your hand go up. Mari, you're muted.
Sorry. I don't want to take a lot of time because I don't really know enough, but I just have a quick question about the community garden area there. Is it still open for people to rent spots? Is that where it's left
They
off?
sign up and they don't have to pay anything. So they sign up and they put whatever they want in. They put their own little fence around their own little area if they want a fence.
Okay,
And then, so I was in there last August and it was deserted. Things were overgrown, fences were falling down. It's just not maintained at a certain level.
but it's
Well,
up
they're
to the
not-
person who is assigned that spot to maintain it, correct, Pam?
They don't have to, they can just walk away. There's no,
Right.
there's no buy-in, like what they do in Westport is you pay to
Okay, right.
buy in and you have to maintain it and you have to, you know, if you want to keep your spot. And the thing is enormous.
Right. I'm
Um,
just asking because there was a huge positive response to Impact Trumbull posted something on social media about people donating their surplus vegetables and their teen volunteers would pick them up. Did anyone see this? But it just, as we're talking about it, it just made me think there were a lot of people that were like, I would love to help, but I don't have a garden. So even if we're not able to like jumpstart a whole new project, I'm wondering if we can just reinvigorate what is there if it's still available. Right? It's like the composting. We might not be able to have the transfer station pick up right now, but we're promoting what RWS is offering, or we're doing an event to promote home composting. Like, instead of thinking of like, what can't we do with the garden space? Can we at least let people know somehow on our social media, just what is there? If people don't have a garden at home, do they want to get started? I don't know. Just a thought, not my expertise here, guys, but.
I have no idea how that actually gets publicized, or I thought that it was, I mean, they sold out
Mhm.
each year because it was such a popular thing, but I don't know, is that really the case? Does anybody know?
the last time we talked about it with Dimitri was 2019. And
Mhm.
he said that they had a full house there.
Yeah.
But what happens to that full house at the beginning, you know, what it looks like at the beginning of the summer is not what it looks like at the end of the summer.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, people lose interest or there's no real commitment. So it ends up looking really junky. It's disappointing the way it looks. It's not, people go in if they feel like going in, they let their stuff overgrow and then it gets tilled, the next year it gets tilled over anyway. So,
There, that
Everybody has,
person that's the head of it, is his name Michael something? No. Am I
Michael
making it up?
Murray, I don't know if he's
Yeah.
still doing
No.
it.
Maybe we could just connect him with Impact Trumbull if he knows some of the people that are in charge of those particular spots. If they lose interest or whatever, maybe somebody, a volunteer will go pick up the stuff, you know?
Michael Murray walked away.
Oh, he did. Oh. Never mind. Just thinking out loud. guys.
Yeah, he was upset about the way it was handled there and the help that they got from the town, so he walked away. So I didn't think he was still there.
I mean, there's one thing, I saw what Impact Trumbull posted and it's a fabulous idea. I think that brings us to just a different idea of bringing people back to just, you know, gardening in a small patch of their own yard if they're not going to keep it, to donate it as a way for them to give back. But there's definitely huge movements, not across the United States, but across other parts of the world where people open up most of their lawns to grow vegetable gardens and they just kind of share what they have with the people around them.
Yeah, I mean, the Yukon Master Gardeners have a demonstration garden in Bethel that is just beautiful. It's all volunteer maintained, and all the vegetables and fruits that come from there go to food banks and things like that. And it would be great if we had a spot like that in town. It would be a community event. We could have volunteers come, we could have the garden clubs come, and we could make our own kind of statement like that. But I don't have faith that the town would work with us to give us a space like that. I mean, unwilling to give us anything at the community garden, so.
Yeah.
What's the point?
Cindy, do you know if the senior center, did they start that again this year for collecting for the pantry and the plantings at the community garden?
I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
The senior center they had done for the pantry, I guess for their own and also for the pantry, they had planted last year. Do you know if they were continuing that this year?
The senior center is planting for the pantry?
Yeah, they had a program last year, and I know with some of the shifting, I wasn't sure if they continued.
I don't know.
I'll check with Mike Ganino.
Okay.
Okay. But obviously,
The
Pam,
last
I know
items I
you're,
have on,
Oh, that's-
sorry, go ahead.
I mean, I know you're, I think everybody's frustrated about that because there was, you know, a lot of energy went into that and seeing what Westport has and seeing what we could have. But if you are interested in going the seed route, I mean, I think at least it's something to get people kind of excited about and interested. No, as I said, I didn't know we had a community garden until we started going for bronze. And I Googled things and I'm like, oh, like, where is it? No clue. And partially because it's up on the hill, the Nichols people know about it mostly. But I think, you know, again, it's work, and as I said, I get the frustration, but if you're interested in perhaps doing something like that with this group, we could pursue that at least at that level, and then perhaps build, you know, continue to build up a little bit. So just my thought.
The last items I have on the agenda are funding for historical sites in town. Not sure what that is, but somebody does.
That was actually back to the, as I was saying earlier, the Parks and Rec meeting where we're talking about signage for,
Okay,
yes, so that was, it got brought up by, someone was there speaking about the Historical Society and programs and things that needed to be done around there. And that was one of the, just saying that there's a lot of things in Trumbull that people are not aware of when they're walking the trails in the areas. And again, that's back to, we started talking about that, we were going for bronze and it just never got anywhere because we need, you know, the funding to do it. And Rena actually, when I brought it up to her the other night, she was like, oh yeah, grant funding, but she did say the QR code. So I'm sorry, Richard's not here, but she said when they had their last, I don't even know, Bill would know what it's called. But when they had the thing saying about people breaking into your computer and things like that and the safety and fraud and everything, apparently QR codes have an issue. So I said, okay, how about if we print just a little spot? So anyway, that's that to go with, you know, again, if we're going to look at the 1,000 trees and anything else, that would be a nice, you know, a nice extra to put in there to start, you know, making a plan for how we can acknowledge and document some of these hot spots in town.
gotcha. Okay.
And can I go back
and
to
then-
one thing before, just so I remember, so for Pam and Mari, when I was looking for Maria's form, I did send to Cindy. I don't have a clean one. I have one that was already filled in. Just to fill out for the check reimbursement. And if not, I'll just retype it, but it had the town logo. But one thing, just as a reminder, when we're doing anything, Maria had said to go through purchasing, who is Kevin Bova, just because of the town accounts with Amazon and things like that. So I don't know if the runner would, obviously not TerraCycle or anything like that, but I don't know if the runner was something that he may have a better pricing on, or because it's got our logo and things like that. There's not a possibility, but I just wanted to just remind everybody of that when we're looking at things for, purchase.
So what do I do? Do I go directly to?
Yeah.
Canada?
Mary,
If you-
maybe you could just email us directions of what we have to do in order to make the purchases happen. So we all have the right information, including tax ID numbers that we might need to use.
Yeah, so they have Amazon accounts set up for the town, and that's what they'll go through. So I'll send you Kevin's information and, his email and, Cindy, should I go through the admin or write to Kevin?
Sorry, I was looking to see if I had one of those forms. What are you asking?
Sorry, for purchasing, because April's gonna be looking at books and, Pam Runner, Mari is not at this point because it's TerraCycle, but for items that we are purchasing with, the revenue account, Maria had suggested that or not suggested, but said that we should be going through Kevin Bova. So is that something that should go to the admin, or just send right, so I give everybody the correct email address, through Kevin or through the admin?
You can send to both.
Okay. Awesome, thank you.
All right, the last item I have on the agenda is gold certification 2024 question mark. Has anybody looked at that yet? No, me neither.
Yeah.
I've just barely glanced through it. There's a lot in there. Pam, what did you think?
I don't know how we're gonna get for equity.
It's a ton of stuff. It's really a ton of stuff.
I mean, we had a hard time getting two equity toolkits the last time, I think, right?
Yeah.
And we just don't have, it's not even about town cooperation with that. It's more, I think that there's certain things that our town doesn't do. We don't have municipal buses and, we don't have a train station here where we would have solar power. Like, there's a lot of things that we just can't do because we're a smaller town.
Yeah.
So I don't know that we would be able to do 4 equity toolkits. Do you?
What's that?
Do you think we could get to 4 equity toolkits?
I don't think that's so much of the issue as some of the other things that are on there. There's just so many points. I mean, some of the points we're gonna have to re-up on because they're expired, and then there's a whole bunch more. I forget how many total it is now, 700 points or something. It's freaking huge. So, yeah, until we get some more, I don't know, more people to help us out, I'd say. It's probably not.
I haven't looked yet, but we do have things that say like for solar, what the building committees for the schools that are looking at solar as an option, may not be in the initial, but they're outfitting them so that they can. At the police station, putting up a covering like they have at I think it's at the Fairfield train station, where they have the cover so you can park under, and having solar on top of that. They are looking at the infrastructure. So there's certain things that may not have happened yet, but the fact the town's looking into it. We're on the EV. Rob had signed up for it, but I was attending it. So the EV meetings. So there's certain things that we're kind of at, but again, I think it's, as you're saying, that's a lot of points, but I'll look and see if there's some that are like the last time. There was a lot of low hanging fruit, but if we see things that are just like, we don't have it, and those are the big points, I think we'll know right away. But so then it comes down to, do we renew at silver? So we, put in those things, because again, a lot of the activities that especially you guys have been doing might get us right back into silver for updating, because it's the little mighty active group, but there's a lot of things that have been done. So I can take a look, but I think if we're not going to go for gold, I don't remember how long we have for silver. Is it another year and it expires? So
They're
maybe
basically good for 3 years.
is this I lost everything with COVID.
Yeah,
Is this our
2021
second?
was our last, 2021, I think we did silver.
Yeah, so
in fall of 2021, so.
So I guess that's that'll be a consideration then as well. After we talk community gardens, we should never talk like, should we look for gold? I think the balloon just got deflated, so.
Well, take a look at that, Mary, because when you got on the team back in 2019 or 18, I forget what it was. That's when you really know the stuff that the town's involved in from the town council side. So we checked off a lot of stuff. So when you get a chance, go through that. There's all new stuff like climate leader. We have to become a climate leader, and the town gets designated as a climate leader, and just a whole ton of stuff. So. That's all I have. Anybody else want to add anything to the discussion before we go? All good? All right, team. Thank you very much for your everything. And we are signing
Thanks,
off
Kevin.
here. Thanks. Thanks,
Thank
Bill.
you.
All right. Take care.
Thanks, everybody.